Anniversary. Hollywood debut of Polish director Jan Komasa, responsible for the great Corpus Christi, amongst other things. Great ensemble cast: Diane Lane, Kyle Chandler, Madeleine Brewer, Zoe Deutsch, Phoebe Dynevor, Dylan Bryan, McKenna Grace, and Daryl McCormack. There was apparently a controversy surrounding the film's release. According to Komasa and some people around him, the studio actively prevented its marketing and opted for a very narrow theatrical release in the US. Some of the movie's stars also didn't really promote it and seemingly distanced themselves from the picture. Presumably, this is because the movie is, definitely politically charged and can be read as a critique of current political situation in America, even if no names of individuals or political parties are ever mentioned, and the film generally tends to deal with more abstract ideas. Anyway, this is a drama that plays out over the course of 5 years, while we periodically see this family meet up at various events like wedding anniversaries and Thanksgivings and birthdays. During the first meeting we see, the son of the family, Josh, brings along his new girlfriend Elizabeth, who used to be as it turns out, she used to be a student of the mother back at university. And she was apparently a problematic student with inflammatory, dangerous, anti-democratic ideas. Now she's about to release a book about those ideas, dressed up in a new political ideology. And then all the following meetings show how these ideas, through the book, become very popular in America and are progressively more accepted and taking over, leading into what looks like a quick slide into a fascist, authoritarian state. So, yes, it is abstract, but also seeing what's happening in America right now, you can spot numerous similarities. Also, you can think of it as a kind of an ironic thing where the movie deals with showing you a slide to fascism without naming any parties, any actions, any individuals, and yet there are some people who read it as a critique of Trump and his people. So I guess those people see the similarities themselves, and maybe there is something about the real life slide to fascism. Maybe there is something to it. Anyway, the key to understanding this film, I think, is to realize that much like in last year's The Seed of the Sacred Fig, this is all a big metaphor where the characters are vessels for various social groups and their ideologies. The family is meant to represent America as a whole. So you have the mother, who is the academic intellectual elite, the father, who's working class, kinda, the youngest daughter, who's the youth of the country, kind of, terrified by what is going on between the elder people. The son is the disenfranchised young man desperately looking for approval and success, and not finding it, succumbing to the temptation of fringe political ideology, and so on and so on. And yes, it is a bit rough around the edges. Not all aspects of the metaphor make perfect sense, but the majority of it does. And I firmly believe that this is how the movie was intended to be read. So it's an ambitious way to tackle the themes of the film, especially as the script deliberately omits any specific details of this new ideology and how it becomes so successful. We learn that it's backed by some sort of mega corporation, and we learn that it apparently advocates for a single party system and great unity across the country, but doesn't explain how it's able, what the details of the policies are, or how it's able to take over the political landscape so quickly and so thoroughly. There are some things which you, as a result, have to accept as a kind of an assumption that the movie takes in order to tell its story. And I can see some people struggling with it, with not everything being laid out and explained. Again, understandably, because I think there are aspects of it which, if you think about them, they seem unpolished and not completely right. But if you're willing to roll with the premise, I think this is actually a solid movie. Certainly ambitious and bold, but I think more successful than not at showing the damage to a more or less stable society done by a radical, uncompromising political ideology which leaves no space for dissenting voices or different opinions. I think that rather than tackling specific things or elements of policy like, I don't know, racism, xenophobia, economic policy, or immigration, The movie says the details don't matter as much if you try to think of what a dystopian world it would be when you're not allowed to disagree with whatever the accepted narrative is on any given subject. I think the point that the film is trying to make is that even if it's an ideology that seems completely harmless on the surface and it advocates for unity and peace and so on, if you're not allowed to have a different opinion and to disagree safely, then it is fascism. Um, I think performance-wise, it's very good, especially Diane Lane and Dylan O'Brien. The contrast between how he is at start and end of the movie, even just in terms of physicality, is completely chilling, and he does a great job of making you believe in his transformation into this cold, vengeful monster. I What I have to wonder about if it was the filmmaker's intention to kind of model Josh and Elizabeth on Charlie and Erica Kirk, who have been in the spotlight in recent times, partly for obvious reasons, and it certainly seems possible based on the characters, and that would very well explain the reason why, following Charlie's assassination, the studio got cold feet about promoting this movie. In any case, though, obviously I'm speculating here, but back to the film, I liked it. I do think it's flawed and imperfect, but I appreciate the ambition and the premise of using characters as representations of ideas. Solid stuff overall.